Hi, fam. It's like New Year's already, you guys. It is the end of the year. Okay, we're recording this a little bit early, but when you guys are listening, I'm pretty sure this comes out on New Year's Eve. So,
Oh, snap.
like,
Happy New
you
Year's,
guys, this
y'all.
year went so fast. How? 2020
it's
took
it's
like 5
crazy.
years and 2021 took 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like everything just kind of sped up right when things started opening, which was great, but then it was like, wait a minute, I need more time.
Yeah, we all had to go from
Slow
like 0 to
down.
60. It was a lot.
Yeah, but we hope that you guys had a great year of learning and growth in your careers. We know we did tremendously.
Yeah.
Got to try a lot of things, experience a lot of things. And that's what we'll get into on today's show.
Yeah.
Also, I hope you guys really like our sexy, seasoned, sick
Seasoned.
voices.
We just put a little seasoning on them.
A
Little herb
little
de Provence.
a little basil, a little dried thyme and sage. Yeah, Tessa and I have been through it. I mean, it's the end of the year.
We're both sick.
We're both sick.
Exhausted.
And exhausted.
Soul sucked. I don't know.
I know. Where do we begin? Well, Tessa, before we get into my whole spiel, why don't we give our listeners an update on Sync, the competition feedback, and where we're at with the project.
Totally. So to really quick recap, if anybody's just listening for the first time, Sync is our first feature film that we are about to produce. And we started writing it a while back. Carolina came up with the concept and we wanted to write.
Started January of last year.
Yeah.
So that was really exciting to kind of give ourselves a full year to dedicate time to this project.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. Yeah.
And we wanted to write something that we could star in because we're both actresses as well. So, started writing this, started really getting into it, planning, and then we came across this contest from We Make Movies, which was a script competition in which 3 winners would receive $25K and a lot of help producing their project. So we entered into that and really hit the ground running because we already had the script almost there and then we had to come up with everything else. So we basically were getting all of our pre-production materials together, our budget, our pitch, our just all of that stuff.
Which was great.
Yeah.
We're like, wow, we have this together now.
Yeah.
Like all this material.
And it really forced us to do it quickly, which is good because we couldn't procrastinate and we couldn't, it's nice.
Oh yeah, love me a deadline.
Right. It's nice to take your time. It's nice to have the time, I guess, but it's also nice to have that deadline that you have to get it done because that's something that happens a lot in the entertainment business is people just, they know that they have the time. So they just take that time and things never get done. So anyway, we didn't win the competition, but we have all that stuff together. So right now we're kind of right on the precipice of pre-production. We are currently looking for investors and we are open to any advice that you listeners have. If you guys have funded your own films, where did you start? Did you do grants? Did you go straight for investors? Did you crowdfund? Because I think we're probably going to end up doing a mix of several things. We even talk about NFTs as a possibility in our episode with Lauren and Jill a couple episodes back. Go back and listen to that. It's a great episode. They were one of the winners of the contest, as a matter of fact. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now because we've got most of our pre-production materials together.
Oh my God, and a team.
And most of our team.
I am so excited. We have amazing women and men leading. But no, I just love our team. Mm-hmm. They're so passionate about this project just like us. And that's why we have to get this done.
Yeah.
We have to find the money. It's going to be really, really special, I think, for everyone on board on this project. Some people debuting their first real works too, along with us. So I think Tess and I were talking before the show. We are still, as you guys know, new to this and learning as much as we can. And the show is to dedicate our findings, our struggles, our success with film production and making a film. Because a lot of times, we get people on, who say like they got investors and stuff, but it's always a nuanced, complex thing of
Yeah.
getting money.
Well,
and
it's
and
finding those investors to even pitch to begin with. I feel like is the hardest
right,
part because they teach classes on how to pitch. Like that's not the problem. It's finding the people to pitch to. That it's, most of the time it's just someone that somebody knew or a friend of a friend or
right.
through an organization or something. So that's where we're at right now is really trying to find those people to pitch to because we're
Yeah,
ready
and
with
I
our pitch.
think yes. And I think it's safe to say, like, we, and from the guests we've had on in the past, it is like people that are probably in your network
Mhm.
and you wouldn't think to start that conversation with. But think about people who are aligned with or care about you and your vision and the message. People get excited about those things, and sometimes you get caught up in the financial stuff, which are so important too. You can't downplay that. But at the end of the day too, people get excited because of the story and what you're creating.
Yeah.
And that's why investors invest. So I think that's where we're gonna like start our conversations, and that's just what you have to do, like push yourself to have those conversations and don't be shy, and we will share with you, fam, how that all goes. That's
Mhm.
We want to be as transparent as possible with this process, and we're excited to share our ups and downs. I mean, we made it to the finalists. I think we made it there for a reason.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just keep pushing forward, and we'll keep you posted on what we learn.
Yeah. It's definitely not an if sync gets made, it's a when.
Yes, yes.
So we'll keep you updated on that. But something that I would love Carolina to talk about today is so if you guys don't know, again, if you're new listeners, we have a production company, Femme, same name as the podcast, and we create our own work, but we work independently as well. So we work for other people's projects as well. And personally, I only act for other people's projects. I have produced, but I've decided only to produce for Femme from now on because I just will go insane. But Carolina
Yep.
is branching out and she's producing and etc. for other projects as well. So sometimes they're really,
Yeah.
really great, and sometimes they're really, really not.
Yep.
You have heard her talk on on the past few episodes about her really good experiences, especially in the previous episode, or I'm sorry, especially in an upcoming episode with Mandy, who is going to be our costume designer. She talks a lot about the set that she met her on. But let's get into the not so great experiences because it's important to hear these stories too, because sometimes you don't want to speak up, and you don't realize how many people
Mhm.
go through this stuff, or you don't know
Mhm.
what to do and you don't know who to ask. So, yeah, let's get into it and hopefully you guys can learn what not to do and what to look
Or how
out
to
for
handle
and
a
how, yeah,
situation.
exactly.
Yeah. No, thanks, Tessa. And guys, I don't want to make this a whole like dark, angry episode at all. So I'm just gonna give you the facts and hopefully help someone avoid or like Tessa said, navigate through a situation that I was in. So, long story short, the project that I'm speaking of was a student film, a master thesis for NYFA, New York Film Academy. And I saw a posting on a Los Angeles film crew type Facebook group, which is where I found the amazing project that I got brought on for the previous film that you'll be hearing about with Mandy. And that was literally the best time on set that I've ever had. Like, an amazing crew, everyone cared. And that goes back to your producers. That's why Tess and I take our positions really seriously, because we will make or break the family dynamic that you
Mm-hmm.
have, and the safety and the care. So I came in, I submitted for the producer position that this director was looking for. uh I'm torn to say names, but like, you can't, no one should work with this person. So her name is Joy Sayon. She's a French filmmaker and was working in Berlin for the past 8 years, she claims. And again, wanting to support women in this industry too and work with more talented women, I was so excited. I immediately wrote to her, said like, what Femme Regard is all about. Also Frenchie, we like bonded over that and just the whole vision. And I was also just hungry for more time on set and honestly pay. Like I needed that to keep myself afloat while I was figuring out my next move. And it was it was a 40K budget. That's a big budget for a student film. So she just kind of already set this tier of professionalism. Like I'm here to finish my master's. Like this is just my debut film in America too, getting a network of people through the school and through people I hire on this project. All amazing. That's a really smart, plan to have, I think. Use your network and school. Like there's some other great I feel like student films could go one or two ways. There are like really those who are just new upcoming talent that are getting, funded or resources through the school. Like you can get discount pricing through vendors, permit locations, guys. Like the student discount for permits, it's insane. So like let me see numerically if I can give you an idea. Like, oh yeah, $30 versus like $600 a permit.
Wow.
Like literally, that's the big difference. So if you are at all curious, want to go to school, there are advantages for attending, and getting those resources. I mean, equipment, they don't house so much, but still like you can find ways to get what is like a student letter to submit to these vendors and they can hook you up with a discount. It's amazing. So I was learning this too in the process. She brought on another producer who I am so grateful to have met out of all of this, because she and I were a great team. I feel like that's what you always need. And something I spoke later on with Tessa, I'm so glad, she's my partner. And the more help, even as a line producer or a unit production manager on your film could really help you with the whole flow, securing things, especially if, like Tess and I will be acting in our own things. So I'm the parts the okay so the part where everything falls apart was
The
there
climax of the
were
story.
the climax of the story is my crew and I. This wrapped the end of October or November 1st actually.
How long was
And
was production? How many days did you shoot?
we shot for 4 days. My producer and we were brought in literally 10 days before the start date. We literally did what was probably 3 months of pre-production in that week. Like we walked in, permits weren't secure, insurance wasn't secured, talent wasn't fully secured. I had such bad anxiety because, Tessa and I would honestly, we will never operate like that. We have things like we're telling you at the start of the show, we already have our team almost assembled for sync, and we just are looking for funding now. And that's how far ahead we like to work. So, but things happen, and you have to, if you're going to work on other people's projects, you're just going to run into things, workflows that aren't similar to yours. So I didn't have time to like restructure this and work it in the way I normally would approach a project. But we noticed earlier on she was having issues with her card and paying for things. I would stress, if you have to put in money for anyone's project, it's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Like I ended up having to cover crafty costs, which were like around $500. And my producer had to pay like the $1,400 permit total, because we had to get like an officer to shut the roads down, things like that, where it's not it doesn't put you in a good position. And we had a serious talk with her moving forward before the shoot date, literally at like midnight. We're like, girl, like we're stressed, like what's going on? Like we've secured everything for you. And she just kept assuring us that, it's her her card getting frozen from France, and that she knows she's a stranger to us, but that she for sure has the money. She'll like she'll refund us as soon as possible. But she wasn't every day on set. I had to continue to follow up like where funds were coming from. We really wanted to get the full amount in cash to pay our crew immediately, because that's also kind of, I understand with actors, like you have the net 30 or 45 to get paid typically, but as crew, like standard practice, you get paid pretty much the next day once you're like done filming. And in some cases, sure, like this one, if she needed an extra week to get her full amount transferred over, okay, like that, I guess fine. Like those are things that happen, because our crew deal memo stated that she had 25 days to pay us once you sent your invoice, which is key, guys. Always send your invoice, no matter, even if the producer doesn't ask for it. I think just professionally and to protect yourself, send them an invoice with what you're owed. So, and date it. So that way there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, it shows you were asking for pay. And I'm glad I literally in my email, I'm like, just as a professional courtesy, here's my invoice. Like, thank God I did that. I was the first person to do that. And I was surprised. Some of my crew, I had to literally make an invoice for one of my crew team members. They were like, what's that? I'm like, oh, I'm not playing. Like, I'm going to just do it, help them
Also,
draft it.
You can Google like
Yeah.
the template. So don't worry, if you've never made an invoice before, just literally Google how to make an invoice, and it is very simple.
Yeah. What's on there is literally the amount you're owed, for what, and just like having your name, address, any notes of how you prefer payment. I had like I think Zelle information on there, and the person who owes you, their information on there. Helps to have, phone number, address, but you Google it. Like I use a Google template, honestly, and I just like changed it up. So super easy to do. And yeah, I was kind of shocked that some people didn't know, because I did that on my previous project too. The producer asked for everyone to send their invoices, and we got paid literally the next day. So that's a huge thing for anyone listening. Like, definitely send that. But it was communicated to us after production that, a week, 2 weeks later, that we would see payment. That those 2 weeks came. Didn't see payment, followed up with her again. She's like, it's coming, it'll be there by the next week. That next week was Thanksgiving week. And she, to fulfill my contract, had till that Friday after Thanksgiving. And she stopped communicating with me midway through the week. And I'm like, yeah, this is bad. Like, you're not responding to me. I don't think this is going to come through. And I was finding out she still hadn't paid equipment, like the rental companies, and was putting, we're producers on this. So that makes us look bad to the vendors, like me and my producer. Like, we're not, because she's technically the director and executive producer, but that doesn't really matter to people. We're kind of the face of it too. So that was shitty. Pardon my French. It was just shitty. And, I wrote her this thing that's really unacceptable. Like, you're ruining our reputation as well, and yada, yada, yada. And I decided not to play games. And I recommend that no one messes around either. But I decided to look into small claims. So if no one's ever filed small claims, it's a way to sue someone for money. And you don't need a lawyer. Lawyers are actually not allowed in the courtroom. And you have to start by sending a demand letter. So that Saturday, the day after I was due and didn't see payment, I sent her a demand letter. And there are also online templates on how to do this, guys. If you haven't learned anything from Femme Productions, Google will save you.
Yeah.
And just like Google anything, because this is the first time I've ever been in this situation. It's scary. I have no one to like really seek legal counsel with for free. And so, but from like talking to some peers, they're like, you should look into that. And I did. I sent her a demand letter, which then she responds to me, funny enough, and promises to pay me in cash in the next 2 days. I was like, girl, that's like, first of all, that's legally doesn't show proof of anything. That's not what I asked to be paid by. Like, and I'm not going to come to you, like that's, I shouldn't have to do that. And then her response was that she would have her lawyers contact me, which I knew was a bluff. Like, if you can't afford, you're not paying us, like you're not paying a lawyer. And I haven't heard from her since.
How long ago was that?
That was literally that was then Sunday when we last corresponded, which was a week ago.
Okay.
Since from today, or well, today's a Monday, but yeah, like literally a week ago was the Sunday response. And then of course I contact NIFA, and the thing is there's some complications there, but I mean, the school can only do so much for anyone anyways. I think it was important to like report her and let her know, like, let them know. I'm still waiting to hear back from them. She might have been suspended. I've like heard some things from other crew team members, but I then was like, I don't want to leave my crew in the dust too with all this. So I painfully had to like let everyone know what's going on. Here's contacts from the school, because, we were operating with the school. So it's a little complicated because she didn't fully get what is called a green light. But it's just confusing because we have the letter to get discounts and permits from them. So I'm still working out that situation, but I've been telling everyone legal course is probably the only course that's going to get you your money.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's terrible that we have to even like do that. But, I'm not doing it just for the money, but to not have someone legally think it's acceptable behavior to be operating in this way. And like, if I knew, she's also claiming she's been sick to some people and stuff. And it's just like, if I knew I owed my team money like that, I would be, it's a button, like I'd be sending money, like from my hospital bed, if it'd be like, it's not acceptable to me. And I just been encouraging my team that, it sounds like a daunting process, and for me too to wrap my head around, but I was like, I'm pursuing it, and I'm still like waiting to see if I can secure a sheriff, which is free. I'm using you guys, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to email what the website I'm using to help me like do all of this. It's a company that works along with California to like help get like things like the court information together and help connect me with the sheriff to send out and serve her, because that's next. So I'm doing all of that, and a lesson learned, like, this is why union projects are what they are. They protect you from things like this. I think it's shitty still, though, that, non-union, we need to start somewhere. And like, I've had great experiences on non-union shoots. So this isn't like, the be all for all of them. No, not at all. But that there is nothing else to protect me other than going to a court and taking these measures.
Tessa, oh my gosh. Vidafair is so cool. We can literally rent movies for so cheap.
And movies we probably wouldn't have gotten to see otherwise. Indie movies that don't normally make it to the streamers. What a great resource.
But how cool is it that the filmmakers make money too? Like actual money, not fractions of a cent based on hours upon hours of views.
Exactly. Filmmakers set their own price for a 24-hour rental, and viewers reap the benefit of micropricing. Everybody wins, and there's so much to choose from.
It's so simple. Fair trade film monetization. And all you have to do is visit vidafair.com. That's VIDA fair.com to make an account today.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that it has to get to that point, but it's business. You know, as much as it's art, it's business, and you have to protect yourself. And if somebody isn't paying you, you are in every right to demand that payment, you know, because it's a student film. She could have worked with other students and had
She could
her
have.
crew work for
Absolutely.
free if need be or whatever. Like you can't make a film without having the money to make it. You have to pay the people that you agree to pay. Or she could have entered into an agreement with you guys to do deferred pay if that was what she wanted to do. But since that wasn't the agreement, that's not how, like,
Yeah.
you have to get paid on time.
And like,
So, yeah.
I'm coughing. That's partly why I think I'm like sick too. I was telling Tessa, like, the stress of this past month, like getting calls and
Mhm.
texts from literally everyone every day about this has been a nightmare. And she's not like, she doesn't care. She doesn't care. And it's like so frustrating to me. So and that's the thing, like businesses, that's what I've just like respectfully responded to her. Like, people can't tell their landlords, hey, I can't pay you because I'm too sick to send, like, you know, the check. Like, we're depending on this
Mhm.
money. This is our livelihood because you hired us to do this. So if anyone thinks that's at all okay to make up excuses, like, no, we're professionals. You hired us. You didn't, like Tessa said, ask favors for free, which she could have done. Absolutely. It didn't have to be this. I've talked to another student who was hired on for the project, that he did his for way less, and yeah, definitely asked for favors because that's what he had. So another point, if anyone runs into the situation that I'm also leveraging, well, I think she can't use this footage at all if she doesn't pay her actors, which I've heard she hasn't either. But in the scenario that maybe she had, I was thrown in last minute for background and I didn't sign a release form. So I've also stated, you know, she will be sued if she uses the footage because she didn't get my agreement. Which, for anyone listening, even if they're not in the situation, definitely make sure everyone signs a release, you know, agreement for footage.
Which you can also find on Google.
Yeah, everything is there.
Standard talent release form.
Excuse me. So it's there's so many things you have to do to protect yourself, but also if from both sides, you know.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of glad that she was bad in some of her paperwork, because now I also have that to make sure that this project isn't going to be used. Because it just absolutely shouldn't be. It's terrible what she's like done to everyone. So I don't know I'm trying to think if there's like any other pointers. Just it's just really unfortunate, and
Mhm.
I hope I can make it through the whole small claims court thing. I'll keep you guys posted if your girl got her bag. Cause and if I don't, like, I don't, but I'm just trying everything I can to, yeah, like just on an ethical approach of like, this isn't right. Like, so you should not like think you can just like run away.
Yeah.
But she might try to run away to France. Honestly, I don't know.
I mean, you know, you hear about scams that happen all the time, and it's very hard to suss those out. I mean, like, we talked about that one that happened to Carolina before too, that was like,
Getting
you know, like,
scammed.
I don't know that this was meant to be a scam. I think, you know, hopefully I maybe I'm just being positive here, but I think that she entered into it thinking she had the money and she didn't, you know, so,
Yeah.
but whatever the case is, like, don't make a movie unless you've got the money. You might be going into your own debt making it, sure, but like, at least whether you're taking out loans or a credit card or whatever, you've got to pay what is owed. You have to.
You have to. It'll ruin, I mean, obviously her reputation now is ruined 1000%. And I just, this town is small. Like, everyone knows each other. Casting, I mean, she had got in contact with casting. Now that casting director knows, you know, like, hasn't been paid. It's wild to me that she hasn't like considered that at all, but if you know, obviously maybe a rookie novice mistake, I don't know, but it's a big one. It's a bad line to like cross with people.
Yeah.
And I hope that I hope that ultimately everyone does get paid, but
Yeah.
moving forward, I hope no one has to encounter this ever again. Just because there was other things on set that were not professional, and that's what we talked about, speaking up. At one point, she wanted to go into overtime, and we had an agreement with the location that they would extend our initial agreement 2 hours more, with the promise that we would be absolutely wrapped up because they had another production coming in. And she didn't care. Like, and the AD unfortunately didn't like step in and support me, and I had to go in and stop the shoot so we can safely wrap, which was still a nightmare. They wanted to wrap in 15 minutes. Guys, no. Like, that doesn't at all make sense. You know, you got the C stands, people are yelling points, trying to like not get poked in the eye. Our sound guy got hit in the head, like, and then she's yelling at me to a producer, come look at this and a situation. And I just like, I'm like, you literally just yelled at me because I wanted to stop early to avoid this situation. No, the producer's job sometimes, hopefully you work with a director who understands that her vision isn't the most important thing. It's also the safety, respecting your contracts. She really showed that she didn't. She told me I was doing a terrible job in front of everyone and not supporting her as a director. And I thought that was just horrible.
Yeah, it's very unprofessional.
I was just like, okay. Meanwhile, I'm like lifting 10 garbage bags and like she's just like, yeah, it was just, guys, you know, I learned that I really don't want to work with anyone unless I know them and trust them. But it's hard when you're trying to do this as your living, right? You want to like work with others, but I think the advice is like, try to, you know, vet people as much as you can beforehand. If there's a proof of funds, probably should have been smarter that I asked about that or something, you know, if I want to work with a complete stranger again, because this is just, it's just to avoid things like this.
Yeah.
And then when you find an amazing team, that's when you continue to work with those people. I do believe like more work will come and come as like you find people you really love and trust working with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, on that note, I would love to hear like set horror stories from you guys, or funny stories, or amazing stories. Just any like set stories that you want to share with us. That would be really fun if you could just DM us at FemRegard on Instagram,
make
or
me
at
laugh.
Femme_regard on Twitter. Yeah. Just send us like, I mean, I've heard some crazy stories from people, so I would love to share those with you guys' permission.
Oh my
Send
God.
them our way.
Yeah. Let us know if we
Yeah.
can also reshare. It's nice to feel not alone. You first feel so like, of course, the first thing I feel like completely stupid for even getting involved in this situation. And because my gut told me like early on, like, just shut this thing down. How like with the whole like having to put in our own money up front. I just, you know, because my producer had like paid that much for the permits, I just felt like we were already so thick in it, literally had hours to the morning to leave and start shoot. Like, I just was like, okay, let's just roll with it. Let's just roll with it. Things will work out. Like, she's not gonna fuck us over. And it's just we still are like, why would you go through all of this if you can't even now use the footage, you know, like what. So it's still a big question mark to all of us, but hey, it happens. So so guys, you know, if you find yourself in a similar situation, you know, don't blame yourself, just learn and know how to like navigate and be better. And man, don't I feel like a real adult. take like, you know, check.
Good old life lesson.
Yeah, 2021, cool. Learning, growing. But yeah, guys, if you need support, you're not alone. We are here for you, Femme. I want to like just leave words of encouragement, like always try to, you know, do what's right for your team, for you. I let my team know what we could do, and it sucks. I feel so hopeless. Like I can't actually get them money, but you know, I would definitely like not even give this kind of project a second thought next time around, you know, and like seeing more of these signs earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you ever are suspicious of something, like, oh, is this project worth it or not? Talk to your peers, talk to us. Like we're not experts, but we've had these experiences. So we're happy to give you whatever advice we can. And I'm sure anybody else that is your peer in this business would also be equally happy to help. Because nobody wants people to get fucked over except the people doing the fucking over. So
yeah,
we're all here for you.
Yeah. No, I'm so grateful for you, Tessa. Like I've been able to just kind of have, you know, touch base with you and just be like, this feels wrong, or like, is this message appropriate? You know, like, especially, you know, it's always best to, guys, here's another big thing. If you run into the situation, you know, still try to not be emotionally a bit detached, stay professional, stay clear, stay concise. Don't lose your temper. Because trust me, there's words I want to use with her. But, you know, at the end of the day, you're trying to pile evidence for court. So keep that in the back of your mind more so than how badly you want to cuss this person out, you know? Don't harass them. You know, at the end of the day, if I just kept, you know, messaging her or showing up at her door, she could be using that against me for harassment charges. And I'm not going to do that. So, you know, if you find yourself in that kind of situation too, like think about that as well. Like as best as you can, try to not lose it, because that's just going to hurt you, you know? So that's another thing, like word of wisdom that I had, because I had some crew members text me with some not of the smartest ideas. I'm like, guys, let's take it back. Let's think about this.
We're not going to TP her house.
And like showing up, like she is not going to give you money. Like at the end of the day, like I heard that some people were still, as a, you know, recently were able to hear a message back or whatever, and she promised them payment by the end of the day and they didn't get it, or they showed up to her door and she's like, I'm too sick, and yeah, you'll have it soon. Yeah, like what? No. So I think the better, faster you see that things are not working out, just start the court process, because it isn't fast, but I think it's faster than this other route.
Yeah.
So guys, happy fucking New Year.
Yes.
New Year.
Let's go.
We're ready for sync. I'm now like putting a pause. It's great. I got some great I can't tell you though, the experience even going through all that crap, like what was exciting was I got to the places she shot were similar to where we want to shoot sync. So I think that experience too of seeing like, oh, that looks, that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea. Oh my God. Definitely gives me more things to think about, but I'm more prepared. So, you know, I'm grateful for the project set experience I did have. Learning more is never, it's just life. You guys, you got to live, you got to learn. Some things don't go according to plan, but oh my God. Yeah. I feel even more prepared for sync having gone through this horrible experience still. So it all works out. I'm excited to focus this next year really on just that project as a whole with Tessa, and we're going to definitely keep you posted. We're really excited for this. So cheers to a new year. You know, we have to go through these times, but we are going to keep pushing forward. That's what you do. That's life.
Exactly. You got to keep the momentum going. And for those of you, again, who are just tuning in, this is the end of this season, but we're going to keep going. Don't you worry. So there will be more episodes in January with some awesome, fantastic guests. If you're not already following us, you can listen to this podcast on every podcast platform, including YouTube. You can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/femregard for as little as $5 a month for exclusive footage. We are on Instagram at femregard, Twitter at fem_regard, Facebook, femregard productions, and TikTok, femregard TV.
Yes, Tess. Love the plugins. Love it. Like, subscribe, follow, buy our merch. Guys, we do have merch. We need to throw in some new ones. I'm really excited. We have guys, we do it all. We're here for you. And we just can't also thank enough the support we've gotten through the show, getting these amazing guests on. Also, this season was full of amazing gems of author, directors with, if you tune in, if you're new, go definitely look at our social media. We have amazing books that were featured on our show too that are so important to the craft and the business. And we're here to provide those insights and share, the amazing resources that we come across. So we're here for you. Thank you so much for the love we've gotten this year. We're just hoping to continue to grow. And we're in it, fam. We're in it for the long haul.
Yes, and we love you.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Femme Regard Podcast. If you like what you hear, tune in every Friday for more tips on the filmmaking business and insightful conversations with industry professionals.
We can only grow with your support, so please subscribe, share, rate, and review. You can also join the Femme Fam on Patreon. For more on us, check us out at femregard.com.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.